Welcome to World School TV with your host, Trina Baldwin. We all share a common passion of travel, and we all share the same desire to educate our kids through the world of travel. And you know what? We all share the same fears as well. So let's blast those fears away and confidently commence or continue our world schooling adventure. Each week we'll be chatting with guests about all things world schooling. We'll be covering travel destinations and events, education options for our kids. We'll talk about what it takes to get going and what it takes to keep going. On World School TV, we're here to support you in every possible way.
Welcome to World School TV. I'm your host, Trina Baldwin. This week I'm chatting with Brandon Pearce. In his 10th year travelling the world with his wife Jen and their 3 daughters, successful 4-hour workweek entrepreneur Brandon Pearce is passionate about living life to the fullest while inspiring others to follow their dreams with intention and purpose. For Brandon, travel is a catalyst to personal growth, transformation and family bonding. And he and his family continue to grow and be stretched through visiting and living in now over 43 countries. Brandon is the founder of the Family Adventure Summit, Family Adventure Academy, At Home in the World Retreats, Music Teachers Helper, Studio Helper, and several other projects that he manages online from around the world. Brandon has been featured on Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek blog and in Chris Guillebeau's New York Times best-selling book, The $100 Startup. Brandon seems to have a lot on his plate. Let's have a chat to him and see how he manages it all while travelling the world with his family. Hey, so thank you for joining us here today, Brandon. It's great to have you on board. You seem, like I said, you seem to have a lot going on. And before we get to all of that, I'd love to hear how you actually got started on this journey. What was going on for you that you started the travelling lifestyle?
All right. Yeah, so what was going on for us was back in probably 2007 or 8, I was working as a full-time programmer, and I was also growing this business that I'd created at the same time to help me manage my piano students, and I turned it into a subscription-based service to help other music teachers. And we just started realizing that there was something kind of missing in our lives. We were kind of going down a trajectory that we could see would lead to a bigger house and a nicer car, and ultimately not any more fulfillment than what we were already experiencing. And we had always wanted to travel the world together. We'd wanted to expand our minds and to see what other viewpoints were out there. And as this business started growing, we realized that this is something we could do. I was eventually able to quit my job and grow the business to the point where it could support us. And we thought, why are we sticking around here in the States? Let's go do this. Let's test the waters. And so the first thing we did was we went on a 6-week trip to Panama just to see what it would be like to be together as a family 24/7 and, explore the world and see what it was like, be in a jungle climate, that we were always attracted to. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. Our kids were 5 and 3 at the time, 2 daughters. And the ways that we bonded together and the ways that we connected and learned from each other and learned with each other, it felt so good. It felt so different from the life that we had been living. So when we came back, we decided we have to figure out how to do this permanently. And over the course of the next year, we ended up selling our house, selling our car, selling everything, and traveling with just what we could carry on our backs pretty much, and moved to Costa Rica for about 1.5 years, had our 3rd daughter there, and then since then we've been to Asia and Europe and many other places around the world. So that's kind of a quick summary of where things were at the time.
Fantastic. So it sounds like to me that you had that niggling feeling inside of you all along, that you knew that there was more that you wanted to explore. That travel bug was kind of already festering there. And then once you had your taste of it in Panama, you thought, no, you put it out there that this is what I'm going to do. This is what we're going to do as a family. And from there, everything sort of happened. Everything fell into place.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy decision. There were still a lot of logistical things. And I actually at first was kind of resistant to the idea. Jen, my wife, is more really, we can do this. And I'm like, I know, but it's like, there's so much work involved and so many things to figure out. But we figured it out, and it just felt really right. And the ways that our minds shifted throughout the travel process it's just been transformational for us. We feel like we're different people in a lot of ways in how we see the world and how we see ourselves has shifted so dramatically over the course of our travels that I'm just really, really grateful that we ended up setting out on the journey.
And you know what you said there, that you were the one that had more fears. That surprises me when you say that, because I've watched your journey over the years. I've been watching you now for a few years. And to me, you're so natural at this lifestyle. So I'd love you to tell us, what were the fears that you had beforehand? Like, a lot to do, yes, but let's dive a bit deeper into what those fears were.
Well, of course, there is the financial concern, right? Our business was, after quitting my job, the only thing supporting us. And while it was growing and it was doing great, I had not run a business before. I didn't know what I was doing, really. I was hiring people, and I eventually got it to the place where I was able to step back. And my first literal 4-hour work week was in Panama, just to see if I could do it. But who knows what would happen with that. So especially if I wasn't paying as close enough attention to it as I had been when I was in the building stage. There was that. There were also just little things like, what do we do with our mail? You know, how are we going to handle that if we sell our house? Where does that go? Or what about all the junk that we've collected over the years in our house? What do we do with that? And just trying to dispose of everything was a big logistical challenge. Selling things and donating things and listing things on Craigslist and all the stuff we did. It was a lot of work to get out the door, but it was worth it.
Sure. So it sounds like it was probably more overwhelm than fear. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. For me. I mean, there were, you know, little things like also eventually it became more of a concern, you know, as we left family, you know, what would it be like to be away from our extended family? Concerns about, just lots of many things that I'm probably not even remembering now. It was 15 years ago or 10 years ago. But
Fair enough. But obviously you've worked it out along the way. You didn't know exactly what was happening in the beginning, but you've been able to work it out along the way.
Yeah, that's part of the fun, actually. It's been the adventure of not knowing and throwing ourselves in and figuring it out. It's a good journey.
So you're very entrepreneurial, all these businesses that you've got going on. Do you think you always had that entrepreneurial spirit, or do you think that it's something that someone can grow if they really want to do something?
I had never thought that I would become an entrepreneur. I was a piano teacher and studying to be a computer programmer, and that was going to be my path.
Yeah.
Until I saw that there were people around me in the IT industry who were losing their jobs, not because they did anything wrong, but just because the industry changes or the boss decides they don't need that person anymore or whatever. And I just realized there may not be such a thing as job security when you work for somebody else. And I was seeing my family, and I'm like, I want my family to be taken care of. I don't want to lose that. That was a big, important thing for me. And so I didn't want to just go finish college. I did end up finishing college, although I got a programming job before I finished. But I didn't necessarily want to do that forever if at any time I could immediately lose that income source and be to zero.
Sure.
And so I thought I have to create something that's going to provide a more steady and reliable source of income that I have more control over and that can take care of my family no matter what happens to me. Yeah. And so that's what prompted me to start creating the software for music teachers that help, or at least I actually already created that for me, but it's what encouraged me to create it into a business, turn it into a business to allow other music teachers to manage their studios more effectively through it.
Yeah.
Music teacher's helper is what I called it.
Yeah. Okay. So then once you got on the road, and what was it, a year you were in Costa Rica, and then
About a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah. And then you just kept traveling. And you've created other businesses along the way. Can you tell us a bit more about how all that came about? Sure.
Well, after Music Teacher's Helper took off to a degree, we realized there were many of our customers who were hiring other teachers and wanted something that would support their larger music studios now. So we created another product called Studio Helper, similar idea, but just a different market. But after a while, we reached a point where I was really enjoying the process of running and growing businesses, these online businesses, especially as I was learning. So I was just learning so much. I knew nothing about running a business, as I mentioned. I had to do everything by myself in the beginning: marketing, graphics design, programming, customer support, everything. I had to learn it and stumble my way through it. But over time, I became more competent. I learned about how to hire and manage people well. Still learning, but it's been a journey.
Yeah.
And over time, I got to the point where I'm basically not really running those businesses. I'm running them, but other people are running them. I'm managing and owning them pretty much. 4-hour work week, literally, for the past several years. And that left me with a lot of time to travel, but also to introspect. And we had been traveling for probably 4, 5, 6 years. And by then there was an element of, we've been going at this for so long. We've been to so many countries. We loved it, but we also were feeling like we were going a little too fast, and we needed to take some time as a family to slow down, to integrate, and to introspect. And so we settled in Bali for a while, and I read a lot, I wrote a lot, attended retreats, and just kind of learned a lot about myself. I guess a little bit of navel gazing, you could call it. Yeah. And eventually, I was really in a wonderful, peaceful state most of the time. And but at the same time, I realized that so much of what I've been doing throughout my life, and especially recently with all this introspection, was so me focused. What can I do for me? How can I improve? How can I be a better person? How can I this? How can I that? And I realized what I wanted to do was something that had a bigger impact in the world to help and support other people in their journeys more. I wasn't quite sure what that was, but as we continued our travels and we met more and more people who said, wow, Brandon, I just love what you and your family are doing. I want to do something similar. How can I do this? That I realized that maybe I do have something to offer in that area. But I thought, it's great. I can share my perspective as one person, but how cool would it be if we get all these people who are wanting to live more intentionally, whether it's to travel the world or be an entrepreneur or homeschool their kids in different ways? What if we got them together with the thousands of families that are out there actually doing it already, all the wonderful people we've met on our travels, and put them together in one room to support and encourage each other along the journey? And I thought that would be an amazing thing for everybody, because the one thing we were also feeling at that time was kind of a lack of community. We had made several friends along the way, and this has been one of the challenges of traveling, is we meet so many amazing people and then we have to say goodbye. And that's hard, especially as the kids have gotten older and they wanted more long-term friendships and things. You can still keep up online, of course, but it's not quite the same.
It's not the same.
So anyway, we decided to put together an event called Family Adventure Summit, where we bring people together with this purpose of connection, intentional living, with we decided we've been to several events. We'd been to dozens of events over the past years leading up to that, from homeschool, unschool conferences to professional business events. I've spoken at several events. Went to World Domination Summit, which was a cool one in Portland, Oregon. Chris Gillibo runs that one. And I was inspired by the power of events and the energy that they can bring to really lift people up and just like bring new ideas and bring inspiration, and also connect people together in ways that I just haven't seen it happen any other way. And so I was really inspired to create an event that had a really high energy, really inspiring, and really connecting feel to it, and that was really well organized. So we started and we said, we have no idea how to run an event. We don't know what we're doing, but let's figure it out. And through all the things that we'd learned through attending many events and then talking to other people who'd done them, we put together something that I think was really, really special. And in 2017, we had our first Family Adventure Summit in Penticton, Canada. 200 people there. And it was just so fulfilling. It was one of the moments in my life where I just felt so much gratitude to be able to be a part of something that was making such a difference in people's lives. And I had so many people come up to me just telling me how thankful they were for the event and everything. And last year we did it again in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, with 400 people there. Another just awesome, inspiring event. And now we're also donating 100% of our profits to the local communities where we run the event. So last year we were able to fund the building of 2 water capturing and filtration systems for a rural school in Mexico that had no access to clean drinking water. They were drinking arsenic and horrible chemicals in their water supply. So now the school has year-round access to clean drinking water. So it's having its inauguration this week, actually. So we're really
excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And I love that. I love that because as World Schoolers, we want to be able to give back to the communities that we visit, and we want to immerse ourselves, and the fact that we can do it through community get-togethers like this, that's just gold. That sends shivers down my spine.
It's really fun, and we are glad that we can incorporate and include the community in this type of effort. It's not just, we're donating to this group, but it's like we offered the opportunity to the community to help contribute as well if they wanted to. And we got even more ability. That's why we had the second cistern, because we were able to get more donations from the people who are there. And I just love to see the generosity of this group. And yeah, like you say, the desire to give back is strong in us. And when we go around the world and we see the problems that it has, like we just become so much more aware. Our oldest daughter, Emily, recently finished, she's 15, she just finished her first documentary on the pollution problem that's here in Bali. And she went around and interviewed a lot of the organizations around here that are doing good work for improving the environmental issues on the island. So it's just cool to see.
That's a beautiful point as well. Like you mentioned, your daughter's 15 and she's done this. Because she's lived amongst experiencing all these differences in the world, and that it's obviously gone deep into her heart and given her a passion that she wants to do something about it, rather than, and I mean, I don't mean to sound judgmental in this way, but rather than sitting in a classroom and doing a project on pollution and plastic and stuff, then you're not actually feeling it and living it and experiencing it. And so that's what I love about world schooling as well for our kids, that they get those experiences.
Yeah, when you see something in person and you're walking down the street in your neighborhood and you see piles of trash next to you in the jungle because there's not proper waste disposal systems, or you go to the beach and there's just garbage everywhere, or you go to the beautiful glaciers in New Zealand and you see they're receding, it's it just has such a much bigger impact, I think, than otherwise. And so it really has sunk deep into her heart. Yeah, so just continuing on with the business question, Family Adventure Summit this year will be in Bali in October 2nd through the 6th. Okay, so first of all, it is, we have 400 people there, which is a big number, but we really want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to meet the people that are important to them and to engage in this way. So there are a few things that we do. First, we have some, for adults, we have keynote sessions, kind of like TED style keynote talks. We have sessions, roundtable discussions, community-driven discussions where community members will submit topics for voting, and then they'll meet and discuss them. So all sorts of different topics, all the things that are related to world schooling, from sustainability and diversity to entrepreneurship and unschooling and world schooling and everything, travel tips and locations and everything. It's quite comprehensive with dozens of speakers and dozens of sessions to choose from. So it's pretty fun in that way. That's for the adults. Then for the kids, we have an incredible program that gives the kids an opportunity to explore their interests and their passions more fully. So part of the day, they're together in full group activities, or there might be performances or different activities to be involved in there. And then another part of the day, they get to choose a kind of a track to go down. For example, we have a full musical theater program as part of Family Adventure Summit, which is cool because a lot of traveling kids, they don't get the chance to get involved in, musical theater. But over the course of the 4 days of the event, they put on a play with music, with dance, with different, everything. And then at the end, they perform it for the parents.
Wow.
Last year, that was so fun for the kids and just really moving for the parents as well. And then in all of these activities, we incorporate cultural elements. So it'll have a Balinese focus to this. And there's also a sports program, an art program, a music program, a technology program, for kids who want to learn video editing and little programming or Minecraft hacking or whatever it is. So all sorts of different things for them to choose. And they're getting in smaller groups for those activities and just getting the chance to explore. And then at the end, we like to showcase a lot of the things that children are doing as well.
Excellent.
And then we'll have, lots of extended time for meals together and performances and different activities and just getting different people together in different ways to really mix it up and just provide a really incredible, inspiring opportunity for world schooling families to get together.
Sounds like fun. The thing I have I love finding events all around the world myself, and I think the biggest thing for me is the community. Like, you have all this amazing stuff going on, which is like the icing on the cake, but it's the community that you find and connect with, that you can cross paths with further on down the track. And
I just I absolutely love the people who come to this event. They absolutely inspire me. We have people from all over the world, especially in this year in Bali. We'll have a lot more from Australia and Europe and Asia. Last year it was mostly Mexican, American, and Canadians. But just the diversity in the group. We have people who travel on budgets from, $25,000 a year or less. It was for like a family of four, so probably $15,000 a year, up to millionaires who are coming to the event, and all sorts of different ways that they educate their children. Maybe they're going to public school and they take a few weeks or a few months a year to travel, or maybe they're full-on radical unschoolers doing their thing, and everyone comes together and in this supportive and inclusive environment where the real point is just to support and encourage you in living your way, however that is for you. So it's not like we're up preaching how to do anything. It's more about just providing an encouraging and supportive space, and the people who are attracted to that are just, I think, world class.
Yeah, fantastic. I have to agree. So on top of the Family Adventure Summit, you've actually branched off and created some more intensive, specific programs for people. Could you tell us a bit more about those? Yeah.
So first we have, the first one we created, I guess, was At Home in the World Retreats. And this is a 2-week immersive experience. We just did one in Bali, and now this summer we'll be doing one in Transylvania, Romania, over July 1st through 14th. We only have one spot for one family left. I'm not sure when this is airing, but if you do want to come, now is the time to get in touch. But this is with a focus, maybe even less on world schooling, although it is a focus on world schooling, but more a focus on family connection, on deepening family connection. Because we take all the families there through a framework that allows each of us to delve deeply into ourselves, into our own needs, into our children's needs as a family, and create what we want to create in the world and how we want to live in the world with our families. So we cover a lot of topics. We have discussions around different topics, but this is a much smaller, intimate group than Family Adventure Summit. This will be around 50 people, around 7 families, plus the facilitators and staff and everything, and the team. So it's much more intimate, and it goes a lot deeper, and it's over 2 weeks. So we have time to really go deep with a lot of these topics. And the children are also, much of the time the families are together, but often, probably more often, during the session time anyway, the children and the parents are separate, but learning and working through similar things, so that when they come together, they're on the same page. And our children's program is facilitated and created by one of the world's leading mindfulness educators, Yelena Popovich. She teaches mindfulness in different organizations and schools around the world. We're really grateful to have her on board, and really incorporating kind of a mindful approach along with all of these other aspects. So in Transylvania, it's really just like maybe a couple hours in the morning and a couple hours in the afternoon that we're in deep discussions. The rest is integration time, active time. We have like a soccer pitch and a pool and a horseback riding and trampolines and all sorts of things like that. And then we also have opportunities for cultural excursions, cultural activities, different types of things we do on-site and off-site to really bring in that aspect. So, and also learning about how it's called At Home in the World Family Retreat, because it's really getting to the core of how you live at home with yourself, at home with your family, and at home in the world wherever you are, and also being able to appreciate how others do that in their own way.
I love that, because when you're traveling, I found myself, when we first started off, we were kind of in holiday mode, and that family, it was like the honeymoon period. Yeah. And then it was a challenge to adjust to being a family that was traveling, because there are differences there, and different things come up as a family, I think, when you're living that lifestyle. Yeah. So I love how you've created that. What was it that inspired you to create that?
What did inspire us to create that? Well, we were creating it with another family, the Capanet family. I don't know if you've met George and Bobby Capanet. They have two teenage twins. And we had both been toying with the idea of running retreats, mostly for the opportunity to go deeper in community with other families who were on a similar path over a longer period. We were initially thinking 3 weeks. And then we ran it ourselves as a test run, and we're like, I think that's too long.
Too intense for too long.
Too intense with the way we run it. I mean, if we're just hanging out and playing and stuff, fine. But we really value going deep and exploring some of our inner worlds with these topics, and the framework we use does take you there. Yeah. So we can only hold space for that for so long before we need to take breaks ourselves. But yeah, I think that would be what started it for us. We just had this feeling that, wow, we got to do this. This is what we need, and it's hopefully what other people need too. So we'll see.
Yeah, fantastic.
And so far, the response has just been phenomenal. Families, I mean, we've had families say that it's saved their relationship with their kids. Wow. It's just totally shifted the trajectory of their lives, different things like that. So we're really grateful. If you go to athomeintheworldretreat.com, you can watch some of the testimonial videos and learn a little more about the event.
Great. Okay, and then you've got another one coming up.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. I love it. And do you know what I love? I love the fact that, you and your family have been on the road for 10 plus years. And I'm sure you've experienced lots of challenges. You've experienced lots of joys. You've made lots of mistakes. And the fact is that you're bringing it all together and sharing it with other people. And, this is a thing that I love about the World Schooling community too. There is so much wisdom and knowledge out there. And it's people like yourself that are getting out there and sharing it. And it's gold. It's gold. Yeah. It's gold to people who are exploring the idea of world schooling. And I think it's gold to people who are on the journey as well, because they don't feel like they're alone in some of their thoughts and situations sometimes. So thank you for that, Brandon.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Yeah, I totally agree. There's so much support that is often needed for families who are, considering whether they want to do this, but they're probably in a place in life. A lot of the people, so the next event we're talking about is Family Adventure Academy. And this one is really, this isn't for people who are already out on the road. Mm-hmm. This is for the people, because we know those people like us, we need support too. We need to feel like we're not alone. We need to find that community. We need to have support for the challenges that come up along the way, because they're very different challenges. They can be very different challenges from what you might experience back home. But for those who are considering doing this, who are maybe, they're in their 9-to-5 job, maybe their kids are not happy in school, whatever the situation, feeling like they want something different, but they're not sure what it is. Or maybe they really think it's travel and they know that they want to get out there and do this, or it's homeschooling, or it's whatever. But there's so many questions, like, how do I do this? How do I afford it? How will my kids be able to come back into high school? Will they be able to go to university? How can I afford it? Not just receiving the income, but how much does it actually cost to do this? All those types of questions are things that we have developed a program around at Family Adventure Academy. So the difference between this one is not just who comes, but it's also, this isn't really a community event in the same way that Family Adventure Summit is.
Mm-hmm.
This is really an education event. So you don't bring your kids, it's just for parents, and it's over a weekend, 3 intense days where we deep dive, spending a full day on all the different tips and tricks that we've learned over the years to save money on travel, to do it affordably, and how to make it a meaningful experience, not just budget travel, staying in hostels all the time, but really having fulfilling, enriching experiences. That could include hostels, but I don't have to. And by the way, it's not just my wife and I running this event. We're also bringing on the Capanese, Jen Miller, who has raised kids up from birth through university. Amy Stepovsky is also, she's our logistics coordinator. She won't be speaking at the event, but she's helping with a lot of the planning of it. Anyway, so this is just a fantastic team because all of us, I mean, we have over 4 decades of travel experience between us, raising kids from 0 to adulthood. And it's a very diverse group. We educate our kids very differently. We travel differently. And so it's not just my perspective, but it's multiple perspectives coming in to support the families who are coming in. So a full day on how to do it, how to save money on travel, a full day on earning income, how different ways to earn income and monetize your travel adventure or find location dependent income, lots of different options there that we cover and help you find ones that really resonate with you and help you take the next steps to move through that. And then a full day on education and all the different approaches that are out there, an overview of that, and then really helping you figure out which one, again, resonates with you most. And then we also do group coaching around those things to help you talk with others about, what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you want, and then some introspection, time for writing, and also discussions on family dynamics and relationships, both within your family, the challenges that can come up there, emotionally and otherwise, and as well as the relationships with the people around you that you meet on your travels with extended family. We tried to make it as comprehensive as we could, like all the different things around it, and we're jam-packing it into 3 days. So that's Family Adventure Academy. It's going to be intense, but if you are ready to, if you're listening and you're ready to set out on a journey like this or want to explore it and just get a big dump of everything that's out there rather than spending hours and hours and hours on the internet, hundreds of hours on the internet trying to scour and find these things, and then maybe not even sure if you've left something out, this event is for you. And that's in Seattle this August 16th through 18th, familyadventureacademy.com.
Fantastic. And so if people aren't in Seattle, are they going to get the chance to access this information from you any other time down the track?
Yeah, I'm always putting out online stuff, and I have videos on my blog and everything. But again, it's not quite the same as coming for a full 3 days of not just download of information, but facilitated coaching and working through your own past and your own questions. And just, we hope that the families who come will leave, or the parents who come, families aren't coming, parents who come will leave really feeling like all their questions are answered and they are ready to get out the door, or at least know the path to do so, that they want to take to do so.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Brandon, I think we could be talking all day here on the stuff that you're offering, the knowledge that you're offering us. And I love all the programs that you've put together. I'd love to hear from you for someone who is, I was going to say, what can they do to get started? And how can they get rid of their fears? So coming along to the Family Adventure Academy would be one. But what if someone's in Australia? What if someone's in Australia and can't make it to Seattle for that time?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, like I mentioned, the alternative is to scour the internet. Get on the Facebook groups, get on the the opportunities that are online for free to learn about certain things. But I think a big part of it, first step, it's really a mental game. And that's something else that we do cover in the event, but really getting clear yourself on what it is that you want. If you think you want to world school, you think you want to travel, what does that really mean to you? And beyond that, why do you really want it? what is it that you really think you're going to gain from it? And recognizing that, maybe this is something I said in my opening remarks at the first Family Adventure Summit. Something that I've learned along the way is that I tend to be a person that looks to the future and says, when I have that, then I'm going to be happy. When I finally have this income level, when I finally am doing this with my family, when I'm finally sitting there on the beach in Thailand, whatever it is, then I'm going to have made it and I'll be happy and it'll be that way forever. But I've realized that travel really doesn't make you happy. There's a honeymoon stage, as you mentioned, but there are many wonderful things about a travel lifestyle, about a world schooling adventure, so many things that connect you together. But for me, the most important aspect, and I would say as well for someone who's starting out, is to really get clear within yourself on what it is you want and why. And then even just starting not from a place of scarcity of I need to do this because I don't have enough or I'm not enough, but like really being grateful for what's good in your life right now. What do you want to enhance and accentuate and grow in your life, as well as change. And building that habit, this is something I've had to do and still struggle with, because when hard things come, my mind tends to go to a negative place. And as wonderful as my life is here in this gorgeous villa I'm living in Bali with a private cook and a housekeeper and a driver and all of these things we've been able to afford here in Bali because it's so affordable, sometimes little things happen that I'm just like, and then my day, it's like out of balance and I'm like not happy. I'm like, what's going on? And just realizing that can happen even if you have a 1-hour work week business and everything's taken care of. Like you still have yourself that you take with you through life. You still have your psychology, your mind, and putting yourself into a space, developing practices, habits of gratitude, of mindfulness, of those types of things will ensure that the journey that you take, however you take it, will be intentional, so that it'll really address the needs that are going on, not just for you, but for your kids, really taking their needs and their desires into account. And then wherever you go on your journey, you can keep those practices up and continue developing that, that gratitude, that happiness mindset to carry you through. That's one quick thing.
I love that. That is absolutely perfect. I'm sending you heaps of gratitude for what you've brought to us today. Now, there's so much that you've got going on and there'll be lots of links. Is there a central area that we can find you?
Probably the easiest way to find me centrally is at our family travel blog. It's pearceonearth.com. The last name is Pearce, spelled P-E-A-R-C-E, like peace on earth with R in it.
Yeah.
And there we have, over 10 years of our travel blogging that we've written, as well as links to our projects and different things, as well as resources on entrepreneurship and homeschooling and things like that.
Great. And I'm also going to pop up, because I think for anyone who's curious about this lifestyle, I think this academy that Brandon's got going on, the 3-day academy, is brilliant. I really wish I had something like that I could have attended before we started. So I'll pop the direct link there for that one for you as well.
Thank you. Great.
So thank you so much again for coming on, and look forward to crossing paths with you in the world someday, Brandon.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.